Hi, welcome back to the channel. Exposing log footage can be difficult and confusing, but it doesn't have to be. What I've realised is that the scene can dictate the exposure. Take a look at these examples. Every video we've just seen has a different exposure, and when they've been worked up in the Colour tab in DaVinci Resolve and converted to Rec. 709, they all work. I'll share my screen with you, we'll have a look at each scene, and then we'll work them up. Here we are in the Edit tab in DaVinci Resolve. We'll just play through the clips. It's 5 seconds of each one. And what do we notice here? Let's go back to the beginning. In the first clip, the sun is behind the camera and it's lighting up the whole cliff face. There are virtually no shadows or dark spots that we need to get detail from. If we have a look at the second video, we're taking the video from behind some trees and foliage. The sun is in the sky above the mountain. We can't see it here, but it is there. And the location where we're at is actually in the shadows. And if we want detail from the trees, we're going to have to overexpose. In the first one, we didn't have to overexpose. We could take it as it is at 0 EV. This video was taken at 2 stops overexposed. Let's move to the third video. We're in a cave, so the foreground is totally dark. And outside we've got the sky, which is really bright. To get some details from inside the cave mouth, I selected an exposure of +3 EV. The sky didn't burn out, and as you can see, we have detail inside the mouth of the cave. Let's go to the fourth video. Here we have water running over a slough, and it's under a bridge. It's quite dark, and outside the sun was shining. But rather than using the EV to set exposure, I used the zebra settings. If you're shooting video, having the zebras on is a really good idea. You'll find other videos about how to set them for your particular camera. And the method of using it is to open up your lens, let plenty of light in until the zebras are showing. Then stop down the zebras, and at that point where they're all gone, that's your exposure. So it's that 1/3 of a stop click that removes the zebras. That's your exposure. So let's go into the Colour tab and work these up. Let's go into the 0 EV where it was exposed for what it was. Let's add 2 nodes. Open the effects. We'll use Colour Space Transform on the 3rd node. Put in the settings. This is F-Log, so we need Rec. 2020. The gamma input is Fuji F-Log 2. The output is the industry standard Rec. 709. And so is the output gamma Rec. 709. As you can see, that video looks really good. We can make some minor adjustments in the colour wheel to go to the middle node, the second node. Open up the colour wheels. Bring the darks down so they almost touch the black. Take the lights up so they're almost touching the whites. Then slightly adjust the midtones to your liking. That's pretty good. So this video was not overexposed like many people say it should be. This video is exposed as you would take a photograph. The workup was really easy, it looks real, and to me there doesn't seem to be any point in overexposing a scene that is lit up by the sun and it looks really good as it is. Now let's move to the second video. Let's add 2 nodes, put in our color space transform, put in our settings, Rec 2020, F-Log 2, Rec 709, Rec 709. Remember, this scene was shot from the shadows. The branches and the leaves that we're seeing are in the shadow, whereas the mountain in the distance is directly under the sun, and it's bright. And you can see the exposure difference. You can see the darks in the branches, and you can see the scene beyond is totally lit up. And this video is shot 2 stops overexposed. It's to try and capture some of the detail from in the branches. We've got some, but it's not enough. So in some respects, we could have overexposed it more, but we can alter it. So let's go to the second node, take our lights up, bring down the darks a bit, raise them until we can see a bit of detail. The lights are still good. The branches are not as dark as they were, however they're still dark. So let's use the midtones. Brighten it up a bit. Now you can see the bark. It looks good. However, the far scene is a bit too bright. Let's bring it down a bit. You can play around with this until the scene looks the way you want it to, but it's more or less there. Now let's go to the third video, put in 2 nodes, color space transform, settings, Rec 2020, F-Log 2, Rec 709, Rec 709. This image, although it's shot 3 stops overexposed, is quite dark. Let's bring up the lights. There is white there in the waves and there are bands of cloud. Let's raise the darks a bit. Yeah, we're starting to get detail. The walls are pretty black, but the detail is definitely coming. Let's move to the midtones. There we are. See the walls. The wall of the cave is starting to light up a bit. And the rock in the sea looks good. The sky isn't burnt out. You see a bit of shine on the walls. What I noticed there was, I don't know whether you did, but I worked it all up in the color space transform node. So you don't have to have these other nodes. But as we learn more about color grading, making adjustments on different nodes is good practice. But I forgot here. But this scene now, other than some personal minor adjustments, is pretty good. Let's go to the 4th video. Remember, this one was exposed using the zebra method. Just 1/3 of a stop under the highlights being clipped. Let's add some nodes. Color space transform, settings, Rec 2020, Fuji F-Log 2, Rec 709, Rec 709. Remember, this day was in the winter. The sun is low, it's shining on the grass over here. There's some coming up on the wall. And the rest of the scene here is under a bridge. There's a lot of shadow. There's a lot of blacks up here. So let's have a look to see what we can do with the color wheels. Lift the blacks a bit. Okay. What about the white lights? Oh, that's quite good, but we're burnt out a bit. Let's bring that down. What about the midtones? Raise the midtones. bring the lights up. See the sun up here on the grass. Again, this will be about personal preference. The scene is a dark scene, but we have details. Can we make any further adjustments? Let's try the histogram. So we put in a bit of an S-curve. That's given us a little bit more definition. It's not quite right. And I just realise I've also made the adjustments again on the color space transform node. But the point of this video is to show that the scene can determine the method of exposure. Let's head back quickly to the Edit tab with the big screen view. Let's play through those. The first two look pretty good. The third one looks good. In fact, that's really good. That's actually not bad. It needs a bit more work, but it's not bad. And as another qualifier, all of these videos have been uploaded to stock footage sites and all of them have been accepted, which means the exposure method and the Rec 709 conversions I did at that time, and now they're up for sale. So I haven't made the decision to say that they're any good. A stock photo site assessor has done it, and that's across multiple sites. So this is something I've been working on over the last few months. I only started using log in February. I've done quite a few experiments. I've learned from trial and error, but what I have noticed is a pattern. And the pattern is that the scene can dictate the exposure method. This is in general terms. I'm sure you can be more finite, but if you go to a scene and it's totally lit, there's nothing dark or shaded within it, then you can just expose as you would to take a photograph. 0 EV. But if you're in an area, especially if you're shooting towards the sun, so the sun might be in front of you, casting shadows back towards you, or you could have the sun behind you with big buildings and the sun is casting shadow on the foreground, but you want to have the detail. So what a lot of people seem to use on YouTube to get around that is to go 2 stops overexposed. If you remember from the cave scene that we got here, I've gone 3 stops overexposed because inside the cave was really dark, facing out into daylight, and that scene came up really well. Then in the last video we had a totally mixed scene where we had light on the grass, we had light lighting up one wall on one side of a bridge that was casting a shadow down onto the water. It's a complicated scene, and that was shot using the zebra method. It's way over 2 stops overexposed, but when we went to work it up using the color wheels, we managed to get the dynamics in there to generally acceptable level, but if we worked on it further, we'd get a really, really good scene. Now, just a reminder, all of these videos have been worked up and uploaded to stock video sites, and they've all been accepted, which means there's nothing wrong with them. There's nothing technically wrong. There's nothing wrong with the color. They're all good enough for commercial sale. So as far as I'm concerned, that's a big tick. It says the method works. I've learned so much by experimenting over the last few months, and now I'm really starting to get a feel for shooting in log. But I've got the basic setup. I've got a basic understanding of looking at a scene and pretty much knowing what type of exposure I need. I hope some of my trial and errors and my demonstrations are useful to you. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.